When Ford had to shut down its Chicago plant last May, most people assumed it was just another supply chain hiccup. But the real story was far more alarming. Ford couldn't get the rare earth magnets needed for their SUVs because China had effectively turned off the tap. This wasn't an accident or a logistics problem. This was Beijing flexing what might be its most powerful economic weapon against the United States. China doesn't just dominate rare earth metals, they control them with surgical precision. We are talking about 90% of global processing capacity and nearly 70% of mining production. But here's what makes this truly dangerous. China has spent the last 15 years systematically transforming a chaotic industry into a centralized weapon of economic warfare. Let me explain what rare earth elements actually are, because the name is misleading. These are not the rare in traditional sense. They are 17 metallic elements with names like neodymium, dysprosium, and terbium. What makes them special isn't their scarcity, but their unique properties. They create the strongest permanent magnets known to science. They are 20 to 40% more energy efficient than ordinary motors, and they are absolutely essential for modern technology. Think about your smartphone. The speaker, the vibration motor, even the screen relies on rare earths. That Tesla in your neighbor's driveway, its motor contains powerful neodymium magnets. The wind turbines generating clean energy. Each offshore turbine needs about 4 tons of rare earth magnets. F-35 fighter jets, missile guidance systems, MRI machines, they all depend on these elements. Here's where China's strategy becomes brilliant and terrifying. In 2010, China's rare earth industry was a mess. Hundreds of independent miners and processors operated with minimal oversight. Smuggling was rampant, environmental damage was catastrophic. Beijing had the resources but lacked control. But then something remarkable happened. Over 15 years, China technically consolidated this entire industry. By 2013, they had reduced hundreds of operators to just 10 authorized producers. Today, only two state owned giants control the entire sector. China Rare Earth Group dominates the southern deposits rich in heavy rare earths. China Northern Rare Earth Group controls the northern light rare earth resources. This wasn't just industry consolidation, this was strategic preparation for economic warfare. China eliminated illegal operations, implemented sophisticated tracking systems, and created production quota systems that gives Beijing complete control over global supply. The quota system is particularly clever. China issues mining quotas, smelting quotas, and separation quotas twice yearly. In 2023, they increased production by over 21%. In 2024, they deliberately slowed growth to under 6%. They are calibrating supply like conductor directing an orchestra, maintaining prices while preventing competitors from gaining ground. But China didn't stop there. They banned the export of processing technology and equipment. Even if other countries have rare earth deposits, and many do, they can't build competitive processing facilities without Chinese expertise and machinery. It's like controlling not just the oil but every refinery on the planet. April 2024 marked the moment China fully weaponized this control. Beijing imposed export restrictions on 7 critical rare earth elements and high performance magnets. Companies worldwide suddenly needed special licenses to import these materials. The licensing process became deliberately opaque and invasive. The impact was immediate and devastating. China's rare earth sales to America dropped 37% in April. Magnet sales fell 58% to the US and 51% globally. But here's the crucial detail, only about 25% of license applications were approved. The rest faced endless bureaucratic delays or outright rejections. European auto suppliers started shutting down production lines. German automotive executives warned of complete production halts. Japanese manufacturers like Suzuki suspended car production entirely. The global auto industry, already stressed by various supply chain challenges, found itself facing a new existential threat. Ford's Chicago plant shutdown wasn't an isolated incident, it was a preview of China's power to paralyze American manufacturing at will. And the automotive sector is just the beginning. Defense contractors, renewable energy companies, electronic manufacturers, they are all vulnerable to Beijing's rare earth leverage. What makes this particularly dangerous is complete absence of alternatives. Australia's Lynas Rare Earths is literally the only producer of separated heavy rare earth products outside China. One company for the entire rest of the world. New facilities are planned in the US and Australia, but they are still under construction. Even when completed, they will represent a fraction of global demand. The International Energy Agency projects that by 2035, China's share of rare earth mining might fall from 60% to 52%. Their processing dominance might drop from 91% to 77%. But even these optimistic projections leave Beijing with overwhelming control. And that's assuming everything goes perfectly with alternative development projects. The geopolitical implications are staggering. China can selectively restrict access during trade disputes. They can use rare earth access as leverage in completely unrelated international negotiations. They can influence foreign policy decisions by threatening critical supply chains. It's economic question at its most sophisticated. This isn't theoretical. In 2010, China cut rare earth exports to Japan during a territorial dispute. It was a clear warning that went largely unheeded by American policymakers. The current restrictions are not temporary trade measures. They are strategic tools designed to maintain Chinese dominance. Recent diplomatic efforts have yielded limited results. After intensive negotiations in London, China agreed to resume approving export licenses for 6 months. President Trump claimed this would provide reliable access to rare earths and magnets. But the details remain murky and the defense sector is completely excluded from any licensing agreements. Industry experts remain skeptical. The licensing process still requires companies to submit detailed production data, customer lists, facility photographs, and end use applications. Some describe it as official information extraction. Chinese authorities are essentially mapping global technology supply chains while maintaining the right to cut them off at any moment. American manufacturers are desperately seeking alternatives. BMW has developed magnet-free electric motors for some applications, but they still need rare earths for smaller components. General Motors and other automakers are researching low rare earth motor designs, but few have achieved commercial scale production. The harsh reality is that China spent decades building this dominance while America focused elsewhere. Beijing subsidized processing, invested in global mining operations, and developed unmatched technical expertise. They moved early into Africa and Latin America, partnering with resource rich governments and building integrated supply chains. Meanwhile, American efforts have been fragmented and inconsistent. The Obama administration won a World Trade Organization case against Chinese restrictions but assumed legal victory would prevent future manipulation. The first Trump administration identified rare earths as critical but exempted them from China tariffs. The Biden administration took a more structured approach but limited progress against permitting delays and bureaucratic obstacles. The current situation represents China's most powerful economic weapon against the United States. It's more targeted than trade tariffs, more subtle than sanctions, and more effective than military threats. China can disrupt American manufacturing, compromise national security, and influence international relations simply by controlling access to these 17 elements most Americans have never heard of. What we are witnessing isn't just supply chain management, it's economic statecraft at the highest level. China has transformed rare earth elements from commodities into instruments of geopolitical power. They have created dependencies that will take decades to unwind, if they can be unwound at all. The question isn't whether China will use this leverage. The question is how America will respond when they do.